Hello, welcome to this update for the US and Canada. So now we have all that lake effect snow affecting parts of the Great Lakes in the US and also Canada, and we have some other systems to watch as well. So I brought this up first because it shows the lake effect snow here, the potential accumulation in the next 48 hours. So they do have here, especially northern, northwest New York, close to some 50 inches of snow, or even 60 near like Pennsylvania, New York, some 30 inches in northern Michigan, especially the UP of Michigan and some other areas too. So be careful of the lake effect, and let's see what else is happening. And we'll check the models for the snow. So there are winter storm warnings, northern Michigan, so winter weather advisories there. The UP of Michigan as well. Also, lake effect snow warnings in New York and Pennsylvania, northeastern Ohio, and shows some uh, even some high surf warnings near Hawaii and some high surf advisories in some areas. So be aware, some freeze warnings all the way from Texas to North Carolina, and freeze watches Louisiana, Mississippi, and Georgia. Some frost advisories near northern Florida to South Carolina. So be aware, some dense fog advisories in the west, and air quality alerts. So let's click on in Oregon, see what's happening, because there are a bunch of different shades of gray. So shows an air stagnation advisory parts of Oregon. So they do say an extended period of stagnant air with light winds and little vertical mixing. So be aware, and this says this can lead to more pollutants at the surface. So be aware, this in California, this might be some dense fog advisories, so be careful. They say this is Thursday, but it's already Friday. Be aware, there are some frost advisories in California too, and some more high wind watches in southeastern Wyoming there. So be aware. You can click on the warnings to see more here. In Canada, we do have a lot there in British Columbia and Alberta, and the warnings in Ontario for the lake effect. So here in Ontario, there is like snow squall watches near Lake Superior, some snow squall warnings, just a bunch of snow squall warnings here in Ontario. This basically like the lake effect snow shows some weather advisories near some other areas, winter weather travel advisories in effect in some areas. So search for your location here and see the warnings. A bunch of snow squall warnings. You click on snow squall and it shows here the hazards and everything. So stay safe there. And shows here like Nova Scotia, a wind warning, Victoria County, and Northwestern Territories, extreme cold. Be careful there, it's extreme. So be careful, stay warm. Uh, Wind chills close to minus 50 degrees Celsius. Please be careful. Frostbite and like hypothermia. Stay safe. Newfoundland Labrador, wind warnings. Be aware and check this link in the description, because by the time you watch this video, these warnings might be different. So be aware. In Alberta, snowfall warnings in a bunch of areas there. If you click on snowfall, shows a long period of snowfall, total amounts of 20 to 30 centimeters will continue until Monday, and as high as 50 centimeters in some areas. So be aware in Alberta, but British Columbia, there's like winter storm watches, north coast in some areas. So strong winds, heavy rain, heavy snow, and freezing rain is expected near Terrace, Kimati, and Prince Rupert, especially inland near coastal inlets. So from late Friday night until Sunday night. So be careful, and more snowfall warnings in British Columbia. So stay safe. Shows there as you can see on the map here, and the other areas. So be careful now. Let's see what they have for the snow. So the show today for Friday, those areas of heavy snow in Pennsylvania New York, northeastern Ohio because of the lake effect. And I already watched some people live there, and the snow footage is insane. So be careful. And northwestern New York shows more, and southwestern New York too shows more heavy lake effect in parts of the UP of Michigan, even northern Michigan, an area of heavy snow in southern Ontario, and more in the far western UP of Michigan. And northern Missouri shows a tiny bit of snow, and the Appalachians from North Carolina to Maine shows more snow all the way west to Minnesota, and some in Washington there, and northern Idaho, Montana, and eastern Montana, southern Montana too, some spots in Wyoming, and yeah, so be aware. Day 2 shows some snow potential from Missouri to West Virginia, and still some heavy lake effects, especially New York, Ontario, parts of Pennsylvania, northeastern Ohio, and Michigan, especially the UP of Michigan. It shows more there across North Carolina, North Dakota, and South Dakota, some potential snow, Montana, Wyoming, and parts of Idaho and Washington. So be aware, some mixed precipitation near Kansas and Missouri to Kentucky and northern Washington. So be aware. Day 3 still shows some lake effect there, so still be careful for like Monday, and shows still some snow in the Appalachians and a spot or two in Minnesota or North Dakota. So be careful, still shows some snow throughout the northeast and southern Canada. So be aware. Snowfall probabilities, of course, the lake effect there. So be careful. Show some very high probabilities there, and also in eastern Canada show some stuff in British Columbia. And day 2 shows still some heavy lake effect for Saturday, so be careful in all of those areas with snow squalls and everything. Day 3 for Sunday, still some lake effect and a thing or two in West Virginia. Day 4 still shows a lake effect or two. Day 5 more some general snow, light snow, and still some lake effect near New York, Pennsylvania, and Ontario. And shows like day 6 shows potentially some more scattered snow there, southern Canada and parts of the northeast, so better watch. And day 7 still a little bit there. So we watch that, excessive rainfall, nothing today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, still doesn't show anything, but day 1 through 7 for rain shows those very big amounts in Canada there because of that cycle, and shows still some rain in southern Texas into Louisiana, and that's the lake effect there that shows us precipitation too. Shows some showers in Florida, some more rain in the south in some areas, and fairly quiet across the west. So be aware. The hazards does show day 3 through 7 the heavy snow and some frost freeze in the south. So be aware. And day 8 through 14 does show like some areas of heavy precipitation, the northwest and Alaska, and still some heavy snow near the Great Lakes in the northwest, and some uh, much below normal temperatures. So be careful. And here the winter storm severity index, it must be high to extreme. Parts of New York and Pennsylvania shows many areas of extreme there. So be careful those areas because of all the heavy snow, the snow load too, in some more specific areas, especially the snowfall amount right by the lake in Pennsylvania and Ohio, southwestern New York, be careful, northern Michigan, some areas of major, and yeah, so be aware. So also shows some minor parts of Missouri, Illinois, and the Appalachians, so be careful there. And let's see that there's something else. They have some uh, projected snowfall amounts here, so does show that snow in the Great Lakes. They have some areas in New York close to 60 inches or more, so be aware, northwestern New York. Be careful, and especially Watertown and some areas shows more from Ohio to New York, more than 30 inches right by the lake, and northern Michigan, those areas, so stay safe there. Now, the storms does show a storm or two in Florida, and maybe in the Great Lakes, because of the lake effect, does show some very small areas, but not really. And no thunderstorms forecast Saturday and Sunday, and fire, no critical. So yeah, and here, let's see windy, just for the systems there. So first, let's see here the snow, especially like rain here. So first, let's see the west a little bit. Does show that snow in British Columbia and Alberta there. This still Friday, then Saturday shows heavier across the coast of British Columbia. Even later until Saturday night shows some heavy rain there and snow. So be careful with some like flood potential along the coast because of the heavier rain and the heavier snow in the mountains, all the way from British Columbia to Saskatchewan. This goes Sunday, shows more there across central northern British Columbia and southern Alaska. This goes and still showing that atmospheric river continuing until Monday. This goes there, shows more rain southern Alaska, some heavy rain on the second, and more snow southern Yukon, northern British Columbia and Alberta, and still shows like Tuesday, it takes that snow all the way to Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and eventually to Ontario. And it does bring on like Wednesday the 4th, this snow all the way down to Indiana, Illinois, shows more Michigan and Wisconsin like on Wednesday, especially like those areas. And then this goes Wednesday, late next Wednesday shows more snow entering Quebec, still in Ontario. It shows a lot across the northeastern US. And Thursday, this goes there and like goes into Atlantic Canada, but still shows some lake effect late next week. But yeah, that's kind of far out. It might change. There's the GFS, shows the heavy rain and snow British Columbia, some in Alberta. This goes there, southern Alaska, showing some heavy rain, especially Monday, so be careful if you live there. Shows still around Wednesday the 4th, southern Alaska, some snow near like Yukon, British Columbia, well into next week, especially in Alberta, and southern Alaska shows more. And does show Wednesday the 4th, that snow there, uh, across like the Midwest, some areas of Ohio, and all the way into Nunavut shows more snow. This goes into the northeast on the 5th, into Atlantic Canada there. So yeah, be aware. It does show lingering snow showers after that. So be careful in those areas. The snowfall accumulation uh, until Monday does show British Columbia close to 120 centimeters in some areas, so that's a lot of snow there. Next 3 days, 143 centimeters. So be careful, British Columbia. Shows, especially in the mountains, some heavy snow. Southern Alaska, a lot as well. And then it shows there like more eastern British Columbia, some in Alberta there, some snow. Then shows more like in Saskatchewan a little bit, a tiny bit into North Dakota, and an inch or two in eastern Montana. Shows more there like southern Ontario, the lake effect, some 30 centimeters, 32 centimeters, and the GFS does have there like near Pennsylvania, those areas, some 14 inches, and especially New York, Pennsylvania, some 7 inches, Ohio, especially northwestern New York, is close to 18 inches or something. The official forecast is like 70 inches there, but the GFS is optimistic in those areas. And does show more snow throughout Quebec, some northern Ontario, Manitoba, and shows there like in Labrador some more snow throughout there, especially some 20 to like 30 centimeters or even more, and some more Newfoundland and Labrador, especially like northern Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, some lighter snow. So be aware. And now does show like the European model. It has some more specific areas in the mountains, close to 155 centimeters, British Columbia there. So be careful. This goes all the way to southern British Columbia, some, but not in Vancouver, and shows some in the island. Shows more throughout eastern British Columbia, some 37 centimeters, a lot for southern Alaska, and then show like some 85 centimeters northwestern British Columbia, and to southern Yukon expect some snow. Northern Alaska some, the areas of southernmost Alaska, and just show more near Hudson Bay, some 18 centimeters and 19 centimeters. So be careful there. In Ontario, it does have some 26, 44 centimeters, 32, but it might be more than this because comparing with the situation in the US that they had 70 centimeters the official forecast, 70 inches, and it only shows the model some 30 inches or something. So the same thing might be true in Canada there. So the model show some 25 centimeters, but in the very right by the lake, in the heavy lake effect areas, it might go all the way up to 50 centimeters or something. So you never know. Be aware there. And shows northern New York some 24 inches, shows 24 inches, but the official forecast has 70 inches. They might be wrong too, because you never know. So the model might be wrong, or they might be, but just be careful there. Shows more Pennsylvania and Ohio some 16 to 20 inches, and northern Michigan, those areas. So stay safe. Shows also snow West Virginia, North Carolina, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, a little bit very light, like North Dakota has some 1 inch or something. South Dakota has less than an inch, like California, 1 inch, and shows some other areas. So be careful. But now this is until Monday. If I put this until next Friday, already shows more across the Great Lakes, some still in the Midwest, and yeah, more across central to eastern Canada too. But that's kind of far out. The GFS does have two, like in the northeast and Midwest, some more snow until the December 6th, and also in eastern Canada and some spots of the west. The icon until December 4th has some more across the Midwest, some 2 inches, has more across the Great Lakes, some like Minnesota 2 inches, a little bit further south too, but be aware in those areas. The icon doesn't have as much in British Columbia, but it does have 106 centimeters and close to some areas 111, especially in Alaska and British Columbia, some 171 centimeters, and that would be some 60 inches of snow. Southern Alaska, 50 inches, more there some 30 inches. So stay safe there. But that's one thing. The rain accumulation is another. So yeah, the icon has all the way to 400 millimeters southern Alaska, and this would be some 17 inches in the next 5 days, 19 inches in some areas, and all those towns there some 13 inches. So really be careful, because this atmosphere river is gonna come north and hit right there. So be careful. The European has a little bit less, so I think this more realistic. Show some 10 inches, 9 inches, and some 8 inches in some areas. And the GFS was quite strong too. The last run, some 12 inches, 11 inches, and 6 inches. So be careful. There's yeah, there aren't many other models, but be careful. Now for British Columbia, does show there along the coast some 200 millimeters, because those areas are like snow in the mountains, but right on the coast it might be rain, 200 millimeters show there. Some others further south some 225, 160 millimeters. So be careful with flooding potential too from this low pressure and atmosphere river, so 181 millimeters, and more throughout southern Alaska, some more rain in those areas. The icon British Columbia is all the way to 400 millimeters, 500 millimeters. This is too much, I think. The icon's levitating, but you never know. So some 500, 400. The icon had few snow, but a lot of rain. But yeah, show 350. But be aware in those areas. You never know, and shows more there. So yeah, and in Texas shows that's weird surge of moisture there, some like some 4 inches in some areas, 2 inches. Uh, the icon barely has anything, just on the coast. The GFS is some rain all the way to Louisiana. So yeah, be aware in those areas and stay safe. Now, just for some general view, I showed you, but it shows the snow across British Columbia and Alaska and the atmospheric river there. Just a bunch of systems hitting the coast in the next 2 weeks, more through southern Alaska later. And then it shows those that lake effect snow there. The GFS is another snowfall system near the Great Lakes on the 4th December all the way to northern Canada, and does have some bigger system like December 11th along the east coast, and yeah, and some more snow in the northwest later by December 14th. But that's too far out. I'm just showing you a general view. The Europeans like more snow across western Canada there. This goes shows like on the 4th near the Great Lakes in eastern Canada, and does have some more systems December 10th near the east coast too, and maybe more in the Midwest. But there's a lot of time until that. We'll keep monitoring. But one important thing is the wind. So the wind gusts. So first across the west, the dust shows some stronger gusts in the ocean there, some areas, but this goes shows some days like for British Columbia, some especially along the coast. This is Monday, so the Europeans like some 76, 78 kilometer per gusts, especially later into Tuesday across eastern British Columbia, and Monday night some May is 70 kilometer per gusts. This goes into Montana, so like 50, 40, 50 mile per gusts, and across southern Alberta there, those high gusts Tuesday. Later into Tuesday still shows some breezier conditions in the prairies, the northern plains. And then Wednesday this goes shows some higher gusts along the Midwest, and shows here like uh, near like Wisconsin, some 47 mile per gust. In Iowa, some gusty winds in the Great Lakes on Wednesday. This goes in the European forms these tremendous systems close to 100 km per gust in Nova Scotia next Friday again. So be aware, but that's far out. And now with this system, we do have some higher gusts in some areas of the Great Lakes and some breezier conditions in the mountains, but nothing that crazy. Let's just see the temperatures in Canada really quick. There are those areas in Yukon of minus 33 degrees Celsius, minus 36, with some wind chills close to minus 40, minus 50. So really be careful. Stay safe. Shows all the way to southern Saskatchewan, some minus 26 degrees. Southern Ontario, some minus 1, minus 4. Most of Quebec, practically 100% of Quebec, negative temperatures. In Labrador, Newfoundland and Labrador, especially like in some minus 6 in New Brunswick, southern Quebec, some parts of Nova Scotia. But yeah, northern British Columbia, very cold. And most of British Columbia, Vancouver escapes it by a few degrees. But yeah, then Sunday, this goes, shows more into Alberta, those very cold temperatures. In Yukon, still some minus 36 degrees, minus 40 in the northwestern territory. So be careful. This goes there, shows all the way to Manitoba, so minus 26 on Monday. And the wind chills might be, if it's minus 26, the wind chills might be close to like minus 35 or even more. But it depends on the wind and the conditions, but stay safe. Shows all the way into Ontario Tuesday, so like minus 23, and other parts of Ontario, so minus 8. Quebec, so minus 15, some areas. And it does warm up a little bit, like to 3 degrees across Alberta, British Columbia Tuesday afternoon, but because it gives like a break, it sends some cold air into the east there in northern Canada, but like Wednesday, the next Thursday, and then it gradually comes down again. British Columbia some negative temperatures, showing Saskatchewan all the way to minus 30, Manitoba on the 8th, or like the 5th actually. So stay safe there, be careful those temperatures. So some models might have a different, like the GFS -3, and the icon around -11. So some models might have a different, but be careful there. And just here in the US, like some 24-hour max wind gusts until Saturday afternoon. That shows those high gusts southern Wyoming, close to 50 or 60 mile per gusts, the Rockies of Colorado, and parts of Montana and Wyoming. So be careful, not spotted to southern California and across the Appalachians, some areas. So stay safe there. The temperature is still very cold. Even the maximum temperature is close to 4 Fahrenheit. This was already this afternoon. So let's see tonight. Shows all the way to -11 Fahrenheit in northern North Dakota, some areas, -6, -4, and some 5 Fahrenheit, 10 Fahrenheit, all the way to Iowa. Some 30 is all the way to northern Florida, and the wind chills in those areas might be less. Some 20s and teens in the Midwest and north areas, so stay safe. And the Rockies in Wyoming and Colorado too, very cold. For Saturday afternoon, shows some 7 Fahrenheit, 16, still some 20s across the Midwest and parts of the Rockies. Day 2 minimal shows more there across some areas. Doing some -8, northern North Dakota, some 19, some teens and 20s across the Midwest, and shows some 30s all the way into Florida. So yeah, be aware in Georgia, those areas, Texas, and show like Sunday afternoons, some 10 Fahrenheit, and still cold even during the day across the Midwest, some 60s in the South, even 70s in Florida. But yeah, and then Monday morning does show some -7 Fahrenheit, 0, -3 across Montana, North Dakota, some 20s, 19, parts of the Northeast, 17, Kentucky, 16, 13, and 30s all the way to Texas and Florida. So be careful with the wind chills and everything. And like day 4, Monday afternoon still pretty cold across the north there and the northeast. Tuesday morning shows still some 30s all the way to Florida, like 42 central Florida. It shows some 19, 20s, very cold across the east and the Midwest. And all the way to like Georgia, some 20s in Georgia, and some single digits in the north. So stay safe across the west too. And the other Wednesday morning shows also some 19, 15 Fahrenheit, even less in the northeast, some 15 in the north, 14, some 20s and teens across the west as well. So be careful. And I didn't show like Tuesday afternoon, a little bit warmer in the south for some areas, but still cold in the north. And like Wednesday afternoon, because I already showed Wednesday morning, shows some 70s in parts of the south and even 8 in Southern California, but still some 30s in the north there. And Thursday morning shows this next week shows some 12, 7 Fahrenheit in the north, in the Rockies, pretty cold, a little bit less in the south, a little bit milder, but still coldish in some areas. And next Thursday afternoon, still cold in the north there, some areas, and warmer in the south. So yeah, stay safe with the lake effect. Be careful the visibility, the snow squalls and everything, and stay safe.